disconnect map DM2. Yeah, that is better. So this is a video for DM2 2-on-2 tactics that some people have asked me to do. So here we go. I haven't really planned this video ahead, so it might end up being all over the place a bit. Sorry about that. But anyway, let's start by going through the spawns one by one. I mean the starting spawns, and I will try to explain what you should do with each of them. So here's the mid spawn. There's pretty much only one way to play this spawn, and that is to go for the yellow armor here, then towards the quad area. And this is the case even if you don't have your teammate here making a shortcut for you. But especially in the case you have the teammate here, you should come here, jump on your teammate and go to the quad. But if your teammate is not here, you still have this 150-100 SG, and you can try to help your teammate who maybe has spawned either at Telly, there, or at low area. So if your teammate is coming from low, then you can stay here and try to prevent the enemy from getting to quad before your teammate does. So the guy coming through Telly usually goes for the high rocket. I think he should go, and he might try to jump directly from the high rocket to quad. So guy here to try to prevent that jump from making it all the way to quad and try to make the guy fall down. And in the meanwhile, the teammate can come here and make a rocket jump and get the quad. So that is basically what you should do. If you manage to get the shortcut to quad, then what you should do is to try to get the high rocket. But if it happens that the enemy goes for the high rocket before you can make it, then I don't know, it's your decision at that point. You can try to get away, or you can try to challenge that guy. Depending on how you feel about your aim, how you think your opponent will play, many things come into factor at that point. But anyway, with the quad, you should take the high rocket if you can. If you can't, then it's up to you, your decision. If you can kill the guy, great. If you can't, then I don't know, or if you feel like you can, then fall back, try to get the low rocket, try to survive. If you manage to get to mid, it becomes very difficult for the enemy high rocket to challenge you there. It's a very narrow corridor. You have a lot of space here to move around. You can hit the quad SGs, and then maybe you can make it too low. All right, that was the mid spawn basically. No reason to go into more detail. Okay, again, mid spawn. All right, this is basically a low rocket spawn. This is a bit slower than the low rocket spawn here, but you play them the same. You try to get to the low rocket, and then you have pretty much two options. You can either rocket jump to the path and make it to quad. That is the fastest way to get to quad. No one can be faster than you except for the shortcut. In the case where one spawns there and one spawns either there or there, then they can make the shortcut faster than you can make it to quad. But through Telly, you can't be faster than that. And if one of the enemies spawns here, they won't have time to make the shortcut either. So that is one way, making the rocket jump here and going to quad. That is not the way I usually play. Sometimes I do it, but most often not. Most often I go red box and from here I try to go to quad. What you should try to do here is to listen to the sounds already when you are in the box. If you can hear that the enemies are jumping here under the quad, then it usually means that they are trying to make a shortcut, but they didn't do it yet. So then you know that right away as you come around the corner, just shoot the rocket there and try to prevent them from getting the quad by making the shortcut. The other sound you might hear when you are right about here is when the enemy gets the high rocket. You should always follow, by the way, the team messages you are getting. So, or the voice communication if you are in TeamSpeak with your friend or Mumble, whatever. So if you know that it's a teammate making to high rocket, then you have nothing to worry about. But if it's an enemy, the enemy will try to jump here and get the quad. And depending on how the Telly situation has been, he should be a bit faster than you. So you might try to shoot a rocket there or just somewhere to prevent the enemy from getting the high rocket. And depending on the timing of the high rocket pickup, you might want to go like this. Make the rocket jump from these stairs to quad. That is a lot faster than going here and making the rocket jump from here. So from these stairs, the rocket jump directly on the quad. If you have bad skills, you can try rocket jump like that, all the way from here, but that is super difficult to pull off, especially when you are coming from this direction. It's really, really difficult. If you are coming, or if you were coming from here, it's a lot easier. It's still not easy, but if you are coming here, it's really, really difficult. I would never try it. I don't have the skill to do it. And I have never seen anyone else do it either. I mean, I've been playing this game for 20 years soon, and I've never seen it done. So if you have the mad skills to pull it off, go for it, but usually not. Most people don't. Or no one that I know of. Then there's one more thing that you might consider when you spawn the low rocket. If the enemy spawns red mega, then what he does, or what he should do, is press this button. He takes SSG, jumps here, presses the button, goes to low rocket, and then jumps here and goes for the quad, like that. And that is just a bit faster than for the low rocket to go through the red box. So if the red box guy comes here, then the red mega guy coming from the center with that rocket jump will make it just before the low rocket guy to quad. So to prevent that from happening, the low rocket guy can shoot a rocket there, right about here. So when the low spawn takes the rocket, and here, as he takes the rocket, here's an enemy taking the red mega. This guy falls back, shoots a rocket there, takes the red. So that rocket that he shoots, that one rocket, should hit somewhere around here, preventing the enemy red mega from being fast enough. Here. The timing of the rocket is a bit tricky, because you can't know for sure when the opponent is going to make it to low rocket. But the good thing is that if the guy at red mega is too slow, then he's not going to be faster than you at quad. So shooting that rocket as you are making it to red box should be enough. And then you get the quad, and then with the quad you can do whatever you want. So I think that's about it about the low rocket. That's how it works. Um, and I think we went through the red mega spawn already. The red mega spawn takes the red. First, SSG, press the button, take red and mega, go as fast as smoothly as you can to low rocket, make the rocket jump through lava trap, and make another rocket jump to quad from here. And that's it. You got the quad. The Telly spawn is still, depending on the spawn, it's still faster, so be careful with that. You might end up losing your 200. But I go for it anyway. Then we have NG. Alright, let's go. We have two NG spawns. We have the water spawn and the NG spawn itself. And this is an interesting spawn because, especially this one, there are three things you can do with it. First of all, you can go for the shortcut, or you can just go here and try to mess with your opponent if he's going for the high rocket with the Telly. Or you can defend against the red box low rocket enemy. Or you can, what I like to do is I jump here directly. And the thing is that the timing works very well usually with the, together with the Telly spawn. There are two spawns at the Telly, and as they go to press the button, I jump in from NG and I managed to steal the yellow in front of them and make it here. I get the high rocket and I get the quad, and they get nothing. They got almost like the best spawn in the game, and they get nothing out of it. They even helped me by opening the door and giving me the yellow, the high rocket, and the quad. And that is super fast as well, because you're jumping in from here and the door is already open. It's a lot faster, or a bit faster than the Telly spawn, because the Telly guy who opens the door from here has to make all the way the teleport from there. But when he opens the door for you, the timing works so well usually that the door opens just as you fall here and you don't waste that time. So that is faster than any other way to get the quad, unless both of the players of one team spawn at Telly. One opens it, one goes through the Telly. That is even faster. And well, shortcut. Shortcut is always the fastest. There's no beating that. And the third way to play the spawn. Very few players play it this way, but Ihminen, I guess, came up with this style. In 4 and 4, he used it a lot. Ihminen is my teammate from TBS. Anyway, he would jump here from this spawn, take the NG, and go here. And what it does is that if enemy gets the low rocket, he's jumping here, shooting the button, facing backwards towards the path, and there's most of the time there's no one there, especially in the beginning of the game. But because Ihminen is a nasty player, comes up with all things like this, he's here with his NG, and NG is actually, it's a horrible weapon, but in this situation it's better than SG. The DPS is better than the DPS of SG. So he starts nailing the enemy, and the enemy even opens the red box for him. So he nails the enemy here, takes the red box, and sometimes when the enemy is a bit disoriented, doesn't expect an enemy to be there, he might even drop back or at least die there. So that is one thing you can try. Honestly, I don't know how many times I have tried. Not many. I probably should try it more often because it's such a fun thing to do. But the thing is that from NG, you really have to kind of have the routine beforehand. You have to make the decision already before you spawn here. You don't have the time to make the decision. If you like start thinking about what to do here, then it's already too late. You're not going to make it in time to either the Telly or to the low lift. So you really have to know what do you want to do and do it fast as well. You don't have time to spend there. And this spot is a bit simpler. There are two things you can do. You can jump to the Telly. Timing works there as well. It's a bit tighter. You might end up having the guy somewhere around here, the Telly guy, when you make it here, but it should work out if you're fast enough. Or you can go here and do the same things we have gone through already. But you shouldn't try to go to the path. You will be too slow, you will be late, and there's nothing for you to gain. Then the quad low spawn, perhaps the simplest of spawns. There's not much you can do. There are no tricks here. You just basically go here, and if you have a teammate nearby, good, you just stay here. If there are enemies there, make sure that you are not giving them the shortcut. Then if your mate is not coming here, then you do all the same tricks you do with the other spawns here under the quad when you don't have a weapon. With the exception that you don't have any armor here, even. And that's it. That's what you do. Then I think that's it. We went through the quad spawn, 2 spawns here, 2 spawns there, 2 spawns at low, and red mega spawn, and the mid spawn. So that's all. That's all the spawns. What else? That took us 17 minutes. Alright, this will be a long video. Well, there is a lot to talk about. A lot of small details. Then, what do you want to do in general in DM2 2-on-2? It differs quite a lot from, well, especially from 1-on-1, but also from 4-on-4, because we have weapons stay on. It's quite easy to get hold of weapons in DM2 2-on-2, thanks to weapon stay. In a perfect situation, you have both of your enemies without weapons, and also without red armors or without mega health, and one guy playing NG somewhere around here, or I like to play here, and the other player should be at low. Making the idea behind this is that you try to prevent your enemy from getting either of the rocket launchers. One is here, one is at high. If you don't know where the rockets or weapons are in this map, then go and learn it. It's not the scope of this video. So, low rocket player, the job for him is to get rid of the guys coming from path, spawning there or there, and at mega as well, red mega. There is a spawn there behind this wall. And also try to get rid of the guys coming with or without the yellow armors that are here to low rocket. Many players will hate you for sitting at low rocket, but it's really not as easy to do as you might think, because there are really not enough rockets. There are 10 rockets there. They spawn every 15 seconds in 2-on-2, but anyway, the problem is that they are far away. When you go for the rockets, the enemies have a lot of time to make it to low rocket in the meanwhile. And if you don't go for the rockets, then you will run out of rockets. You will need 3 reasonably good rockets to kill one guy with yellow, and you start with 5 rockets, so that is a problem. Then you need at least 1 rocket to kill each spawn, so those 5 rockets will run out really fast. And as you go here without any rockets, you want to go take the armor and or mega health away, and that takes time, and your opponent has time to get to the low. So that works both ways. For I mean, what you can take away from all this is that without weapon, getting the low rocket is perhaps your best chance, depending on the positioning of your opponents, of course. But flooding the low rocket is relatively easy. You just have to do it like long enough to force your opponent to go to red mega to get more rockets. Because if you try to get too low and you die a couple of times and then you give up, then you are just playing for your opponent basically, because you are giving the opponent the time to get to red mega, get the rockets, and get back in this position where he can prevent you from getting the rocket. So when you start flooding the low rocket, just go there until you get the rocket, until you see that, okay, the enemy went to red mega, and now we have at least this one weapon, and now we can go to either red box here, or we can try to hunt down the guy here, even if you think that he's weak, or you can go to mid, get yellow, and maybe jump up here and fail the jump and die. Well, no, this way, and then go for the quad. All right, that's it. And as the low rocket guy, it's difficult. It's really not easy. It's easy to get those first 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 frags. But then as you are running out of armor, as you're running out of rockets, you really have to somehow try to guess when your opponents are coming to the low rocket. One option is, if you are only running out of armor and you have the rockets, you can go to box, get the box, jump back up, and you have full armor again, almost full, 170 about. Then if you are running out of rockets, you basically have 2 options. One is a bit risky, another one is not. Both are risky, but in different ways. One option is that if you have, let's say, 1 or 2 rockets, and you see that, okay, an enemy spawns there, or you somehow know that they haven't taken an armor at mid, so you know that an enemy without an armor is coming for you. So then you can hit 1 rocket, make the enemy weak, and then let the enemy take the low rocket and kill him then. That gives you 5 more rockets. The risk being, of course, that the enemy will get hold of the rocket and will hit you with the rocket. Not a huge problem if you have the health and armor to spare, but if you are weak, it's the higher the risk, of course. So that is one option that I actually like to do quite a bit to get those extra rockets. Another option is to go for red mega, and that will give you 10 rockets and also a fresh armor most of the time, and maybe even mega, depending on on the timing of the mega. It will be there or it will not be there, depending on if you are having the previous mega health already, then you know when it's about to spawn, or you should at least. And you have the red timing, hopefully, as well. If you have been around for at least 20 seconds, then you should have it. It's a safer tactic in the way that you're not going to die here. But the problem is, like I explained previously, that the opponent can make their way to the low rocket in the meanwhile. And it is difficult to pull it off, to make it to red mega so that your enemy doesn't get the low rocket, especially if both of them are dead and they want a rocket, then this is the rocket they usually go for. So although it only takes, like, let's say I'm here, I'm even here, all right, then I leave, that wasn't perfect, but it took me like 6 seconds to get back here. 5 to 6 seconds to get that red and the rockets. But in Quake World, that can be a long time. It just, more often than not, it happens that the enemy just comes from here, gets the rocket, and he even has yellow. So you're not really in the position to challenge that guy at that point anymore. This is such a narrow opening here. So if you have 150, 100 guy here, and you have only 200, 100, your stack advantage is gone as soon as that's the first rocket hits there. It doesn't have to be directed by any means, that's any rocket. And you're already the underdog, not only underdog in stack, but also position-wise. So then you just let it go. You're not going to probably win the battle. So just, I don't know, fall back. Try to get the mega health if you can before the next one. Get stacked rockets and hope that your teammate can handle that guy. Let your teammate know that they actually got the low rocket. If the guy is without an armor, then you can go for the fight. You should go for the fight. You should win the fight, even with this 50 health here, that he will probably fall back to. But if you have 200, 100, you should win the battle. So that's it about controlling low rocket. Where next? Okay, let's go through the Telly guy. Remember that this is the optimal situation when you are in control of things. The enemy doesn't have weapons, but they desperately want to get them, and they try to get them. So the Telly guy just basically sits here, hopes for a shitload of spawns. The thing in 2-on-2 is that the two enemies that you have little chance of flooding you down here. It's very easy to be defensive here, mostly because there's no rocket launcher here, like at low rocket. So you don't have to worry about preventing the enemy from getting the rocket launcher like you have to at low rocket. So you have the two spawns there and there. You have two spawns there, and one spawn there. And well, one spawn at mid, but you don't really have to worry about that too much. So what do you do here? Things are very simple. As long as the low rocket guy stays at low rockets and makes sure that the enemy doesn't get the low rocket, then you just stay here, kill everything that moves. The spawns here are super simple. The only thing you have to be a bit careful with is when the enemy opens the Telly bars here, then you have to fall back here maybe a bit, just to make sure that if enemy spawns there, that he won't get through the Telly. Because usually, if the bars are closed, it takes a long time to get through Telly from this spawn. But if the bars are open, it's a very short way. So you have to be really, really sharp with this spawn. Especially if the opponent realizes that the bars are open and they spawn backwards, then you have to be really fast here. Otherwise, you're not in a huge hurry. Both of these spawns are very easy to handle, as well as these spawns. As long as the bars are not open, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. And even if a guy comes with 150, Or even if a guy gets to box but without a weapon, it shouldn't be a huge problem for you. Sometimes, and actually quite often, you know that, okay, the guy at low is not going to play perfectly. It's just impossible. So you might want to rocket jump through here, and I always shoot with SG. I just don't have shells right now. Maybe I will kill myself. So I rocket jump through here. I open the box, get the red, and I'm back in position. So this is basically what you do at Telly. But things are not this simple. We have quad. That always makes things difficult. And what is the most important thing by far, I think, in 2-on-2? Because most often, when you have relatively even teams, you are not going to be able to sit at low rocket for long periods of time. You might be able to sit there for a while, and you should try to do the things that I just explained, and it will work for a while. You will get, I don't know, 5 frags, 10 frags, even 15, 20 frags, but eventually it will fail. And when it does, then you should make sure that you are ready to get the quad. If everything works perfectly, the low rocket is safe, then the guy at NG goes to quad. And the other guy can even stay at low. The problem with this is that when you go for the quad, you leave Telly very exposed. And at that time, the enemies can get through here. Okay, not a huge problem. You are at quad, you have timed it well, you get the quad, you prevent the enemy from getting the high rocket. You might even go here, make sure that, okay, everything is clear here. But now, what do? You're sitting here at high Telly, you have quad, you have maybe just killed a guy here, or maybe not, but anyway, the enemy might know that you're here. And you're kind of stuck here, because if you leave with the quad, the enemy will see your quad glow, and they are here waiting at the Telly. And they will go through as soon as they see you, and they get the rocket. Okay, not very perfect. But then again, you can't really sit here forever either. Unless you are leading, and you have the low rocket safe, then why not? You can sit here. just hold the Telly. If it's a tournament game, or if you just want to win, you want to make sure that you win, then by all means sit here, because from here you can hear if the enemy is trying to make a shortcut, and you can prevent that. And if they come through the Telly, you can get rid of them more or less easily as well. Problems might arise when not one, but 2 guys come through the Telly, and both of them have armors, or if you are low on health and or armor. So then you might have problems here killing both of them without boring too much, without killing yourself. So the quad is a very nice thing to have, because yes, it's great to get the quad, but it's also in a way good for the opposing team that you have to go for the quad, because that gives them kind of opening to get back into the game. Not probably during that quad, but maybe for the next one. Of course, you might ask, well, why do you go for the quad at all? Just sit here. Like, don't go for the quad, just make sure that they are not getting any weapons. And could be a valid strategy. I think I have never seen it happen though. Just the quad is so tempting there. Everyone wants the quad. It's so sweet to kill everyone with 4 times the damage, but maybe the I think it wouldn't work in the long run because the low rocket is going to fall anyway, and you want to be able to switch positions. Maybe the quad usually goes to the low rocket and the other guy switches to NG. So going for the quad is good. But okay, this is pretty much the perfect world. Unfortunately, things don't go this way very often. Like I said, you should be able to use this like principal strategies for a while during a 2-on-2, but then things fall apart, one of you dies, and then you have to do something. And what this map and this game mode revolves around is the quad, like I said. And getting quad is quite tricky because quad spawns every minute, and the thing is that if you can, you want to be here before your enemies because of the position of the quad. It gives you such a huge advantage to be here, to be able to flood nades. I will show you the nade angles. Just a second, I will answer the questions after the video. Sorry about the delay. I hope this is interesting for most of you at least. So, here you have a lot of great angles to flood with nades. I like to flood here, change the angle a bit, so it's not so easy for the enemy to get through. Shooting nades right about there throws the nades there, so it's difficult for the enemy to come from water through the red box. You can make combinations like shoot a couple of nades there, then a rocket there, so they can't get through the stairs either. Then you have, this is a perfect angle. Also change the angle a bit so it's not so easy to get through the flood. So being here on top is such a huge advantage that you really want to be here before your opponent. The problem is that you also want to prevent your opponents from getting armors. So what you should try to do is to time the armor so that you can get the red box and also preferably the red mega, so that when you take it, you know that the next red spawns only after the quad spawns. So you know that, yes, I have the red, I have a great stack here, but you also know that your opponent doesn't have the stack. And that gives you a huge advantage as well. So what should you do when you know that, okay, red spawns 5 seconds before the quad? Should you go for the red or for the quad directly? Let's say you have, I don't know, if you have a yellow here and nothing else, you have full yellow, full health, rocket, maybe even the nade, but you know that red is going to spawn 5 seconds before the quad or 10 seconds before the quad. Do you go there? That's a good question. I don't have a perfect answer for that. I don't think anyone has. Because if you do go, yes, you're getting a new armor. You are maybe, let's say you had that yellow, you're getting 50 more stack, which is good, but 50 stack is not very much in Quake World, not much at all. And if it happens that an enemy gets here to quad area in the meanwhile, then it might have not been worth it. But if they don't, then it definitely was. Now you did exactly what I said earlier. You took the red so that the next red spawns only after the quad spawns. So the enemy can't make it to quad with the next red from the box. Very good, but you should think about the possibility that your opponent might make it to quad in the meanwhile when you are going for the box. And that is perhaps maybe something even more important than quad in DM2 2-on-2. Map awareness. That's being aware of the position of your opponents and of your teammate. If you know where your opponents are, then you can make that decision to go to red or not to go to red, or to go to mid to get yellow if you don't have any armor, based on the position of your enemies and your teammate. The decision might not be easy, but at least you have something to go with. Like, if you know that, okay, low is safe, the enemy doesn't have any weapons, and they're both at mid, then yeah, they are probably not brave enough to go for the shortcut. So yeah, just go here, be fast, prevent them from getting the red box, and you're back here in no time. Perfect. But if you have the full yellow, you know that quad is spawning in 15 seconds, red spawns in 5. Maybe not, don't go for the red if you know that there are rocket enemies at mid, because they will hear you fall down from here. You will make some kind of sound, at least this one fall sound. So when they do hear that, they know that, okay, at least one fell down. They might jump here, get to quad from here, and they are ready to defend when you attack, or when you are coming back to quad. Or they might just come here and, okay, everything's good. So map awareness plays a huge role in DM2, in any map, but especially in DM2 2-on-2. It helps a lot if you have your teammate in MM3. At least it does help me. There are players who play really, really well with MM2, meaning this normal messages. MM3 is when you have a guy in voice. But I prefer MM3 by a mile. It's so much easier. So, how to be aware of your opponent? Well, that is what is, I would say that is maybe the most advanced thing in DM2, and I think very few people actually kind of realize how much information is given to you all the time. Spawns are perhaps the biggest thing, along with your teammate and his messages that give the most information to you. If you are, for example, at low and your teammate is at high Telly, he's going for high mega, or he's at high Telly, you're at low, you kill both of the enemies, and then let's assume that your opponents don't slow spawn. That is, it's quite rare to slow spawn in 2-on-2. It does happen, but quite rarely. So when you are here and then you kill both of your enemies and you don't hear them spawning, you know that your mate is at high Telly and he doesn't tell you anything about the spawns. So you know that they both spawn at Telly, and you can start flooding enemy slip Telly, even though you don't see anyone. But just because you don't see anyone, you know where they are. Because from this position, you hear 4 of the spawns, and this guy here at high Telly, he hears that spawn and that spawn. I mean, well, the low guys hears that spawn as well. So you know that they are either at NG or Telly, and this guy here at low can flood the path a bit, and the other guy will go to high Telly to make sure that they are not getting the high rocket. He will go here, prevent them from getting the high, probably getting rid of one of their yellow armors, and maybe getting ready for quad. So that is one thing about map awareness, and there are so many positions like that in DM2 where by not hearing something, you know where your opponents are. And I won't be going through all of them, but that is just something that you should think about. You should, I don't know, just play the game and give some thought on not only the sounds you hear, but on the sounds you don't hear. Uh, then I will talk a bit about spawn fragging here. Most of the frags I get in DM2 are what I like to call spawn frags. The server mod that we use, KTX, considers spawn frags to be frags that you get within a second of the spawn, I think. Someone can correct me if it's not a second, but something like that. So basically, a frag that you get immediately after the spawn. But to me, a spawn frag is any frag that you get before the opponent gets a chance to get some gear. An armor, maybe it's not a spawn frag per se anymore, but anyway, it's an easy frag if you have a guy without a weapon but an armor. So here, of course, you get easy frags here. Like I told you, you have some spawns to cover here, but then you might be somewhere here, and you hear a guy spawning there, or you hear the spawn here from here as well. Okay, you hear a spawn there. What do? Your teammate just went through Telly, and he doesn't have an armor yet. He's going for high rocket, so you know that he's not going to kill the guy. So what I like to do, and many other players as well, you jump with the rocket to the path, and you start flooding rockets. I don't have any rockets. But anyway, you start flooding rockets on top of the low rocket there. Flood a couple of rockets. If the guys come straight for the rocket, you almost certainly will kill the guy, because he has 0-100. Splash damage in Quake World is so huge that he's as good as dead. If he doesn't come straight for the low rocket, but goes for one of the yellows mid instead, and then comes to low, then you have all the time in the world to be prepared for it, and you can wait here. You will hear the guy jumping through the lava trap, and then you can bounce him around here and get a free frag. And it's super important in 4-4, but it's really, really important in DM2 2-on-2 as well. Getting those spawn frags before your opponent gets a hold of weapon. And you can do it just like I showed you. You don't have to always sit here tied on top of the weapon, as long as you know that you can prevent the enemy from getting it in another way. Sometimes, okay, Miak just told me a spawn frag is a frag that you get within 2 seconds of the spawn. Where was I? Yeah, as long as you can prevent the enemy from getting the weapon in any way necessary, that's usually good enough. For example, I like to do here sometimes when I don't have armor, but I might have, for example, quad. I sit here waiting for the armor and holding the door open, and if I then hear that an enemy is jumping either through the lava trap or through the path, I just try to time it so that this whatever door hits my head, and after that I go here and I hit the quad rocket on top of the rocket, and I jump back here. I can get the armor, and then I'm ready to hold it again here. You don't have to sit on top of the rocket all the time. And of course, if the situation is the one I described before, where your teammate is going through Telly and you are here and you hear a spawn there, you are not going to be able to get all the spawn frags, but just get the ones you can, because those are the easiest frags in Quake. Those are, it's so much easier to frag players without weapons than, I don't know, to try to stack up so much that you can easily frag players with weapons and armors. That just doesn't work as well as killing players without weapons. And I think it's somewhat unique in Quake world because the lesser weapons, the starting weapons, shotgun as well as SSG and NG that are available in DM2 2-on-2 are so weak that you don't really have to worry about them all that much. But if they get hold of nade or rocket, then you have a lot to worry about because getting an armor in DM2 is so easy. In, for example, Quake Live, weapon control like this wouldn't work nearly as well because almost any weapon in Quake Live, even the starting machine gun, deals so much damage that the other players always have to give you some kind of respect for it. In Quake world, you don't really have to respect shotgun. Get rid of those shotgun enemies as fast as you can, but you don't really have to worry about them all that much. So that is a huge difference between Quake world and many other arena FPS games. What else is there? Then, okay, I told you that quad is super important. So why is it important? What do you do with quad? With quad, you should give the quad first of all to the player who has the bigger stack, because quite often when one of the teams gets quad, the other team tries to hide away. There are basically two ways to approach the situation. Either you know that the guy who took the quad is relatively weak, and then you go and try to kill the quad before he's able to get a stack again. Or you know, or you don't know if the guy, you either know that the guy who took the quad is not weak, or you don't know what kind of stack he has. Then the best approach might be hiding, just avoiding the quad as much as possible. So then the guy who got the quad hopefully has the higher stack and is able to try to hunt down the hiding enemies. The enemies can be a bit more active in their defensive positions. They can stay here at low, for example, because the distances are quite long here. The only two ways to get from the quad area to low are this and this. And you can see well beforehand if the quad is going to attack you. You see the quad glow there, and you see the quad glow there, and then you can shoot a couple of rockets there, and then you can fall back. And you hopefully have dealt a bit of damage, bought yourself extra 5 or 10 seconds if the enemy has to go for a new armor, and then you have survived. And then this is a very common defensive position as well. You are either here or here, and here and here, waiting for the quad to attack. This is normally, or without this teleport here, it would be a very risky position because you wouldn't have any place to, or many places to fall back to. But here it's not so risky because you can hit that one rocket, get through the teleport. But there is a risk. This is 2-on-2, remember? Not that 1-on-1 I was complaining about, where it's way too easy to run away. Here, it can be the other guy waiting for you. Knowing that the quad guy with the stack is attacking, there are basically two ways to attack the enemy at Red Mega. First of all, you want to check these corners. I sometimes do not, but this is an annoying place to be in. So a quad rocket there will hurt quite a bit. So anyway, two ways to get in. One is to come from here. You can take it slow, hit a rocket right there, or you can go silently in and try to hit the rocket there. If you can hit the rocket there on this ground, that is really, really good, because it hits a lot faster than hitting the rocket there on the wall, and that deals a lot of damage. If you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm changing the view height of the guy. A lot easier to hit that rocket if you have higher view height. Might cause problems in other areas, though. And then if you get here, then good places to hit rockets are again that wall, or there. There can be an enemy hiding next to this wall, and you won't be able to see him. So hitting a rocket there is quite safe. Shooting rockets and that wall is always a good idea. And if you have a nade, I will show you how to throw the nades there, because sometimes the enemy will hide here. So throwing in nades from this very corner, just go all the way to the corner, line up the nades and shoot them there. And they will hurt the guy, and especially when you have quad, he's as good as dead unless he comes back up here. But then he has to worry about you coming for him backwards here as well. So quite often it happens that you throw the nades there, and then immediately if you go here, or I mean you throw the nades here, you hear the guy jumping across the lava, you go here back again, and then that guy is forced basically either to fight or to go back, and if he goes back he is going to eat a quad nade. So that is quite a good strategy. Unfortunately, quite often it happens that there is a guy there and he just falls back through Telly and you can't do anything about it. And because of that, it's good to have your guy, your teammate, waiting here. You can either throw nades. It'd be nice to have the nades to show you. Let's go and get some. So you can have the guy here throwing in the nades, and that can deal a lot of damage, as much as like you can even hit 2 perfect nades from here when the enemy comes through. And sometimes it happens that the enemy flies here against the wall, and it's super easy to shoot up the follow-up rockets. What I sometimes like to do is I open the lava and I wait here just as my teammate is going to red mega, and then when the enemy is forced to come through the Telly, I shoot a rocket here and hopefully the guy will fall to lava. That's a good feeling when it works. Then the other approach to attacking red mega is from this side. You can either press the button and go in after that, or you can go all in and jump in. There are many variables that can make it either easier or more difficult to make this attack. If there's only one enemy, it's of course easier than 2. If there's only one enemy and you hear him jumping for the armor and jumping back, that is probably the easiest way to get the kill. As soon as I hear the jump, I jump in, and now the enemy is forced to either stay here or to jump back. If he jumps back, I have the easiest rocket in Quake World. I hit the ground with quad rocket, and okay, if the guy has 200, then he might not die, but he will fall to lava somewhere there, or he will fall, fly back to this wall, and that's an easy frag. And if he doesn't jump back, then I just jump forward. I just do this, and I shoot a rocket there. Also an easy kill. That is if they have only one rocket there. If they have 2 rockets, then more often than not, they have one guy either here, here or here, and the other somewhere around here or here. Very few people like to sit here. I don't know if it's because they think that people can maybe shoot the rocket there and deal damage, or because they just don't know about the position. This is actually quite clever because you can shoot rockets here before the enemy sees you. But anyway, to deal with those two guys, that is not easy. That requires something that is, well, that requires good aim and reflexes in a way. You can make it easier by shooting one rocket there, even there if you feel like it, but I like to shoot there one rocket to make sure that the guy is not exactly there. Then after that, you can either jump in and shoot a rocket there, or you can press the button and do the same, and then hopefully you have killed one of them. Then after that, the enemy has either fallen back through the telly, or he might jump down from here. But if he's fighting, then you should just try to avoid the spam the best you can and try to shoot a rocket in the direction of the stairs on that wall. That will deal damage to anyone who is nearby here. It's really difficult to avoid that damage. I think if you're here, you can, but this is not a very good position because you can't shoot back from here really. So I don't know, shoot somewhere there, shoot a rocket there as well, just in case someone is here. And I don't know, clear the red armor, take the stuff, and if you hear someone going through, I think it's worth the effort to go after them, especially if you have the stack. You might end up getting an easy frag if the enemy is here. Pretty much never works. I mean, quad coming through the telly, enemy waiting here, this guy is as good as dead. And sometimes, if your mate is here, slowing them down, they are busy with your mate, you can get easy frags hitting them on the back. Or if the guy is going towards the quad spawn there, you might be able to hit the quad rocket right about here and kill him before he makes it around the corner. Alright, I guess that's it. If the quad manages to kill both of the enemies, then wherever he is, he should probably stay there, unless it's at mid or path. But if he manages to kill both of the enemies at low, then he definitely should stay there to get the spawn frags we talked about, to prevent the enemy from getting any rockets. And at the same time, the teammate without the quad should realize that, okay, I'm here at Telly, I'm getting the spawn frags here. And vice versa, if let's say the quad guy gets 2 kills somewhere under quad. Let's say there was a huge fight, the enemies were hiding in quad tunnel and at quad, and the quad guy finds them, kills them both, and the teammate is here at NG, full stack. So what this guy should do then is to rocket jump to low, just for the spawn frags, just to prevent the enemy from getting the low rocket, because the quad guy can't really make the rocket jump. It would hurt like hell, and it's very difficult to pull them off anyway. It's faster to get there with the guy who doesn't have the quad. So just always keep in mind those spawn frags. Even if you end up losing a lot of armor or health to get that one spawn frag, it's usually worth it because there are a lot of armors in DM2. There are 2 reds, 3 yellows. So getting stacked is really fast. And there is a lot of health as well. There is health. There's health here at NG area, left and right, there, at Telly. There's really a lot of health. Under quad there's 50 health. Here 40 health. Here 25 there, 50 at low rocket. 2 mega healths. There's a lot of stack available in the map. A lot more than in other maps. So don't worry about your stack so much. Worry about your enemy stack more than your own. If you can prevent your enemy from getting a lot of stack, and especially that weapon, then even a lower stack for yourself will do the job. So spawn frags, and to get the spawn frags you need to be able to be very aware of everything that is happening in the map, and also to be able to kill the enemies, have the stack, get the quads. Remember to be here at quad early enough. What else? Well, okay, get the nade. Get grenade launcher and know how to use it. And get enough rockets. That is actually something that I see very often. Someone spawns at low. You have two guys here without armor. One has 15 rockets, one has 5. The guy with 5 rockets goes for box. He has 5 rockets and red, which, if he hits the rockets well, is enough to take down 200-100 guy. But he really, even after that one fight, he's in a very bad position if he doesn't find more rockets out of the pack that he just got by killing the enemy. So with 5 rockets, you have to hit them well. You can't really spam much because you have only 5. You can't really afford wasting those 5 rockets. So you really have to make them count, and that makes it very difficult to play. So instead, the guy who has 15 rockets, he goes for the box. And the guy who has 5 rockets, he goes for the red mega, gets the stuff here, gets these rockets here. Now he has 15 rockets, the other guy has 15 rockets. Both of them have 15 rockets, and with 15 rockets you can already start doing things. 5 rockets is just so very few for a map like DM2 with so many armors, so many mega healths, that sometimes you just can't get that kill with 5 rockets, and then you are too late to get the quad because you just realize that, okay, I have 2 rockets. What do I do with this? Even if I manage to kill that guy who is at quad with those 2 rockets, then I won't have the rockets to make the rocket jump. So you have to either fall back to Telly, it takes ages to get to quad, and where are the other rockets? At red mega, that just takes forever to go there. So make sure that you have rockets. That is super important. Don't go to fights with 5 rockets only if you really have to. If you know that you are in a hurry, then go for the fights. But if you have the time to spare, make sure that you have rockets. It makes life so much easier. Then the nade. Usually in other maps, not your weapon of choice. It's alright, but for example, let's say in DM4, it's alright, it's useful, but not more than necessary. In Aerovolk, for example, you don't do almost anything with it in Aerovolk. It has its uses, but not so many. But here, especially at quad, quad is actually, this quad area is the place where I mostly use nade. The nades I showed you. You can use it under quad as well. I have gotten so many nice frags just spamming nades here. Super annoying to get through. Deals a lot of damage. Here at mid, really handy. Trying to prevent those motherfuckers getting to you. The fuckers who are running away from your quad and are not being manly enough to challenge him. That's why fuckers. Otherwise, Quake players are nice. Then I don't know, not so useful at Telly maybe, but for example, here as well, you might want to shoot the nades there, and of course defensive nades here, shooting the nades there, and also here just even without aiming at all, just shooting the rockets, nades all over the place makes it difficult for your opponent to stay there at mid. Then, alright, one perhaps a bit marginal use, but you can shoot rockets there and they will go to Telly. If there's, for example, enemy quad there, you can try to prevent him from getting to the button, so he's stuck there a bit. Just so many places for using rocket nades here. Then, what else? I'm sure it's not everything. It's not like the definitive guide for DM2 2-on-2, but that covered quite a bit of the basics. Remember the spawn frags. Those are the most important. Ah, well, okay. Now I remember one thing that I didn't mention. Because spawn frags are so important. What you should try to avoid as much as possible is dying in vain. For example, let's take the start situation where you are the guy here under quad and you don't have anything. You don't have the means to get to quad. And your job here is to try to prevent the enemy from getting the quad. And let's say you are here, your mate is somewhere stuck at low rocket. Enemy gets through Telly, gets the high rocket, you try to make him fall down, he doesn't fall down, you are here. You have absolutely no chance of killing the guy. So what I see very often is that this guy here with SG or NG with 150 yellow, no other weapons, challenges the quad guy, gives away the frag. It's only one frag, you say. Like, okay, I wasn't going to get the frag anyway, so I will just take the fight, hit those SGs here or NG, whatever you have, and then you die. But it's not only that one frag. Then you suddenly become a player who will spawn, and depending on your spawn, you might end up being spawn fragged. Who knows how many times. So instead, fall back. You're not going to win the fight. Shoot with your NG. I don't know, burn that quad a bit. You can make him waste, like, I don't know, a couple of seconds of the quad, trying to check you out, and realizing that, okay, he's not catching you in time. You might get the low rocket here. And in the start of the game, quite often, you can actually get the red mega. So, just, I don't know, just don't die when you don't have to. Or don't die when you know that nothing good will come out of it. It's alright to try to get the quad, for example, with very low stack and rocket. You might force the enemy to bore, you might deal enough damage so that your teammate can kill the quad afterwards. But when you know that the best you can do is to hit 2 SGs if you're really lucky and then dying, then just don't go for it. The same goes for, well, I don't know, any situation like that. When you realize that it's important, it's really easy to see where the situations are, or what the situations are. So just don't do it. What else? Something came to my mind when I was explaining that part. Well, okay. Item timing. Super important. I already explained a bit about the red timings before quad. Another thing that is really important is mega health control. Just try to always know when the mega healths are about to spawn. It's the easiest if you have both of the mega healths at the same time and one person has them. Then you know exactly when the next two are going to spawn, or that they are not going to spawn yet because you still have the mega health. And whenever they run out, try to keep track of them. It's so helpful if you can time your attacks so that you get to red mega just before they spawn. So if that enemy falls back to the telly, you know that, okay, 2 seconds, I'm getting this mega, and then I'm continuing my hunt. So even though the enemy was able to hit you back quite heavily, he perhaps doesn't realize that the mega health was about to spawn, and again you come through the telly fully stacked. So that's it. I think that's everything. I mean, there are small things. I can't explain everything in one video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I probably forgot something important as well, but at least I went through the spawns, the basic positions, the spawn frags, how important map awareness is, timing things. I think that's it. Learn this jump. This is. I told you how important mega healths are. This is the way to get to mega health. Learn it. It's not too easy, but it's not super difficult either. And that's it. I don't know if you have any good video, any good questions or bad questions for that matter, then go ahead and ask. Yeah, it's a long video. Sorry about that. A lot of things to explain. Okay, here is a question. If you drop a frag on DM2, how do you play to get back into the game without giving away chain spawn frags? That is a very good question. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. If the enemy has control of things, like I showed you, one guy here, one at low, then there's just nothing you can do if you happen to spawn at telly, for example. You should try to open the telly maybe, and then hope for another spawn there and spawn backwards and get through the telly as fast as possible. But if you spawn somewhere where your opponent is not at that moment, let's say you spawn here and you hear that your opponent is at telly and not getting the spawn frag immediately, then I would probably usually go for the low rocket, unless I know that I can make it through the telly. Because the low rocket, just as I explained earlier, it's more difficult to control. So it's more probable that you will actually get hold of the rocket, and even if you don't have armor, then you might end up dealing enough damage so that your enemy has to fall back from the low rocket. As you're going to low rocket, if you see that there is an enemy at low rocket, you are not going to get to the low rocket most probably. Then I will go to red. That will prevent one red from the enemy, and then I can try to get their back. Now with, instead of 0-100, I have 0-200, and I can maybe make it to the rocket and try to get hold of things. And what is important as well, try not to play in a straightforward way. I explained how this guy here spawns here, I'm there, I rocket jump here, shoot the rockets there, I will get the frag. So instead of going straight to the low rocket, I can get the yellow here, and then I can even wait. I can check here if anyone is here, and the guy just jumped away with his rocket. here you get the spawn frag. So if you're coming back, maybe there's no one here. Maybe the other guy just went through the telly, getting ready to get the quad. You will go here and get through the telly and maybe get to high rocket and challenge the quad. So that's only one example, but just try not to be so straightforward. Many players, even if they're not tilting, they just don't think about it so much. They are being very straightforward, very easy to predict. So try not to be like that. That is, I guess, my best tip for avoiding getting spawn fragged as much as you can. Like sometimes you just can't avoid it. Sometimes you end up spawning there, and there 5 times in a row, and you don't have many options. You just die usually. So, any other questions, or did we cover DM2 completely? Maybe I can show, just as a bonus, some places that I like to play. High Telly is a very handy place to be in. If the enemy doesn't have weapon, then they are most probably coming through Telly later, sooner or later, and you will get an E-frag here. But even if they have weapons, if low is lost, we have one guy at quad. He's holding the quad, making sure that no one from NG is getting the quad, and then you can be here, a pain in the ass really. Just waiting for the sound of that teleport there. That teleport. So when you hear the sound, you can take a sneak peek and see the guy walking there, and you can hit 1 or even 2 easy rockets, fall back here and continue flooding. So that 200 guy just has about 300 stack left after your rocket. Maybe if you hit 2 reasonably good rockets, he has only 200 left. Or 250. So that is one thing I like to do. At quad, I showed you the angles. Just jump around there. Learn the jump from high rocket to quad, that is handy. Learn the jump from high rocket there as well. Be aware when your opponent is on top of the quad, so you can, I will show you that rocket. That is not too difficult and works quite often. Jump from here, shoot the rocket there right away. Usually shoots your opponent midair or here, and from this position it's difficult to hit you, especially if you're under there. It's really awkward. So then you're here, almost safe. You can do like this or like that, just and steal the quad and just destroy with it. What else? I don't know. I think there are just too many positions to show, but those are just some. And get the quad early. That is usually very handy and necessary. Gives you the upper hand in most of the fights for quad. All right. I think that's it about DM2 2-on-2. A lot to talk about. Didn't explain everything, I'm afraid. Hopefully not too chaotic, not too much all over the place. Hopefully useful, interesting. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you have anything to add, let me know. Alright, that's it.